Hi, this is Luke from Instant Chaos, and today we're going to take a look at unboxing Yedo Deluxe Master Set. Now, as I just move this aside, so what got me really intrigued about this game is this is essentially a worker placement game for 1 to 5 players. It's supposed to take about 2 hours, but we'll see how that goes. And the thing I liked about this game, or the thing that really drawn me to this game, was in from all the stories I read a lot of stories, especially in the Asian culture style stories, where it's all about managing the families and your clan, and there's that honor and prestige of keeping your clans, I guess, their prosperity as well as their reputation with the rest of the world. So, I mean, if I was to compare this to a Western show, and this doesn't really occur a lot in the Western side, but there's definitely some that is there, and that will be the likes of, say, Peaky Blinders. It's very gangster style for Peaky Blinders, which will also be why I'll probably be backing Scarface 1920, because I do like the gangster theme a bit. The other one that was it people might know will be Vikings. So like in both in Vikings and Peaky Blinders, it's about essentially a family or a guy in the family who's trying to raise the prosperity of his clan, and the intrigue that goes with it, with their brothers, with their moms and the family and the uncles, and essentially it's just trying to make your clan as prosperous as possible. So, and that's quite prevalent within the Asian culture. Like I said before, rulebook's pretty decent. I believe have been some mistakes in here, but I don't think they're really major. I think it's usually quite obvious what the mistakes are. But it's a shame that for a rulebook that they didn't proofread it as well as they could, especially since this is not the first iteration of this. This is one of the many iterations. So this here is the player guide, and I'm starting to really appreciate these player guides, because as I'm learning new games, we've been making quite a bit of mistakes that we try to improvise and try to remember it for the next game and improve the next game's experience. So the fact that this comes with a player aid, I do love my player aids. It's decent cardboard material. On the other side. I think this is essentially for the solo variant. I'm not really a solo player, because for me, playing board games is about connecting with my friends on a face-to-face level, as opposed to through electronic games on the PC or one of the consoles. The insert's not too bad. I feel like it's quite flimsy. It has a decent cover on it. The reason why I say I feel it might be going to be a bit flimsy is because you can see that this is quite flexible here. And one of the things that I did get is this coin set, and the coin set I feel can be quite heavy. And I think where the coins was originally meant to sit was over here. So if I was to try to lift the insert out, then it will be very heavy on my left side. So I'm not sure what I really think of this insert yet, but I guess I'll have to give this game a few more goes and then I'll find out. Alright, and there's the bottom insert. I do like these lids. These lids are nice. I think they keep the components in place. The cards, however, I guess I'll have to take a look at what the cards slots do. I think they're a way for you to be able to quickly put the missions you like or don't like in your game, and so forth. But that means there's so many slots and you have to go hunt through them. Normally what I tend to do is I just find the if I find that certain cards have issues, then I'll take those out. But those are the only one I leave out, and everything else will stay in this like stack, if you would. So the fact that this is all separated makes me a little bit nervous about my setup time, but we'll see what happens. there is two standard bag, a black one and a white one. I'm not 100% sure what they're for yet. I believe one of them is for the weapons, because the weapons used to be on a stack and then you just take the top one off the stack, but they made it so now you can just draw from a bag, which I guess is handier than having a stack, and little extra bags is quite nice. The material is of average quality, but I'm not gonna complain too much about that. So back to like the theme of this game is like, if you ever watch like Peaky Blinders, you know, like, was it the guy that's in charge and then his brothers are off running, doing their own things and causing problem for him to resolve. So, and then that whole family dynamic is what makes the game really interesting. This one, obviously, you don't get that whole family dynamic feel, because obviously the game is all very much you're in charge and your family is not misbehaving themselves. All right, so these ones they're essentially, was it geishas that are semi-assassins or ninjas, but they're called I think Onabugeshi geisha. Not sure how I pronounce that properly, but I'm just butchering it. But miniature is quite decent. The print, not sure if you can see that properly. The print is very nice. There's nothing to complain about on the print side. Nice thick tokens, and you get one for each color. So I'll just put that back in the bag. Alright, so that was the, what was it? The ninja geishas, what's like what I like to call them. Probably not quite the correct terms, but anyway. But what this does, what I do like about this other game as well is, I like my workers in my worker placement games to have different powers. So it makes you, there are some games that goes, oh yeah, you can upgrade the number of workers you have, and those workers will essentially just be the same as every other worker. Now, I do like certain games, like not all of them have it, but there are certain games where if you get the special worker, then this worker will do something special for you. So in this case, the one I have here is the samurai. And if you use the samurai to complete your mission, then you get an extra prestige. Right. And if you use those, I guess, well, I don't know what you really call them, ninja geishas or assassin geishas, is they will, when you complete a mission, they will give you well, they will allow you to convert 5 money into a prestige as many times as you want. So you can essentially pay for prestige when you complete a mission with them. Over here we do have the actual ninjas. I might not take everything out, I might just take 2 or 3. So as always, qualities, they're all of the same width or thickness, nicely printed. So the ninja is, there's this thing about a night patrol, which I thought was quite interesting. What they did is, there's a night patrol that goes around town, and it prevents you from I guess going there with your standard workers, because if the night patrols finds you there, they're going to arrest your worker. So it makes the decisions you have to make quite tight. So what the ninja is because they're ninjas, they're all hidden away, and therefore the night watch won't see them. So they're a little bit nice bonus at the beginning. Late game we'll see how they really go. But yeah, this is my first time actually looking into this game. So this one here is the weaponsmith. So in the game you're only allowed to carry 4 weapons at any given time. But if you if you recruit the weaponsmith, then you can hold 5 weapons instead of 4. Alright, this one here is the messenger. So what the messenger will allow you to do is, when you complete a mission, then you can go and draw another mission of your choice. Oh, that's probably, That's black. It's probably not great on my gloves. Yep. So. And then the last of your special worker are the monks. And what the monks can do is they can act like a blessing token. So sometimes your mission will require blessing tokens. So if you happen to have a monk, you can complete that mission without actually having a blessing token. And if you were doing a foresight action, they managed to let you draw an additional card. I'm not sure about that foresight action yet, but I'm like I said, I'm relatively new, so we'll see what happens. So this here are the geisha tokens. So you can hire geishas for your clan to then send them out on missions. I think one of the things that they did do that was different from the original game is they made it that the geisha at the back has a different prestige value. So like I said, this is the first time I play, so I would have no idea how it originally was, but this adds a little bit of randomness to I guess your scoring condition. I'm not sure if you really need it, but that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. This here is your blessing token. So when you're blessed by a monk. Interesting, they only did a single side printing when everything else is dual-sided. In this bag, there's also I guess a round marker. And then we get to essentially the standard workers that everyone have. So, like I said, I'm not going to bring out every single one of them because they all essentially all look the same. I think they miss a little bit here by not adding some variabilities to the clans, or some kind of variety, but they all look the same. You'll know that they are your clan members based on the color. So for you've got various tokens that scores your, I guess, your bidding or auctioning phase, your score, and so forth. And then you've got these two night watchmen. I mean, they look like little mushrooms to me. But essentially they are, what was it? Where is the messenger? So the night watchmen are essentially people. Where are my messengers? There we go. Essentially, they are essentially the police wearing a little hat. That's why they look like this. But for me, they look like little mushrooms. Alright, so that's all the deluxe book component that comes straight out of the deluxe edition box. Alright, next thing is these essentially mission cards. I don't really have a tendency to open these, but I guess I'll just quickly open one just to show you all the variety of missions. This. Right. So these here are your. Ooh, there's also the clan powers in here to add essentially an asymmetric, I guess, starting power. I will probably always play with clan powers because I do like asymmetric, I guess, teams, because it just makes things a little bit more interesting. It gives you a little bit more focus in terms of what your clan is good at doing. And we have, what are these? This one I'm not sure about. I'm gonna have to read up the rules on this actually. And then you get your essentially your different type of mission. So red, was it black, and this is the blue. Red, black, blue, and it's all blue. Right, and then with these mission cards, we'll take a look at the hardest one. But the hardest one essentially says you have to have a worker on the gate district, a worker essentially on the castle district, a geisha that you have to recruit beforehand or try to recruit this turn, 3 different types of weapons. I think that's like a blow dart. That's, I can't remember, that's like one of those first weapons, and that's poisoned. And if you manage to get all of that, that is your reward. The reward tends to be in white. Otherwise, if you manage to also get another worker on the tavern district and a second geisha, then you get a bonus reward. So yeah, I think this one also has some penalties, but I'm not 100% sure how these plays yet. I'll have to take a much closer look at these. But yeah, so like for this one says you just have to be in the harbor district and you'll get one of your bonus cards. I think that's an action card. Some of them will be, yeah. Then over here, I think we've got some essentially automation. Here, not sure if it's automation or not, but that's probably more to do with the solo mode more than anything else. Right, and then I think these are for solo mode potentially. Not 100% sure what those are for, but this one here is your event deck. The event will just tell you what happens on that round. So in this case, it says overstock. During this round, the cost of each weapon on the market is reduced by 2. So that's just standard event deck. What is this? More event. Right, and then this one here is essentially the action cards. So you grab this cards and you just do what it says on them. And this one, I think this is your starting cards. And so every player will grab one of these. So if your worker would have been arrested by the Night Watch, you can blackmail the Night Watch for whatever this says. And also, if you didn't blackmail the Night Watch, you get bonus 2 prestige. At the back, it tells you what your starting hand would look like. So some of what your starting hand would look like will be different between the different players. It must be this one. This one should have the essentially bonus scoring cards. So it gives you a little bit of focus of what you're trying to do. So this one here was the event, like what we saw last time. This one here was the actions. So all the special actions, like this one says, you can avoid the Night Watch. And then this one is special scoring conditions. So your bonus scoring conditions that you can do, you will score 5 prestige if you have the most money. So that is bonus cards. for the player boards, the weapons. I would have to say, for a deluxe component game, I think they missed out a little bit on deluxifying the weapons. See, because the weapons are the stuff that you can draw. So these are, I mean, the cardboard is still of very, very decent quality. It's very thick, but over time cardboard can wear as you handle them as you play them. So I think this was a missed opportunity that they chose not to make this component made of probably plastic quality. And I'll show you what they eventually did do if you back the Kickstarter and paid extra for the deluxe components. So this is all the different types of weapons you have available to complete your missions. I think this here's, what is this? I think this one here is to block the spaces on the board if you don't have enough players. Over here is more weapons. This is your starting marker. I think this is just a random bonus token because you pledged the deluxe edition. And then we get to the player boards. So this here is your player boards. It's usually quite clear. You put your unique clan power on this side. This is all the missions you have. Essentially, if you want to keep it down, you can put it down here, but if you complete it, I think you can put it here as well. Down here is all the available. You can essentially say you can keep 3 action cards in hand, and over here is 2 bonus scoring objective cards on hand. Over here is where you put all your annexes. Here's where you hire your geishas, and this is for the blessing. So without looking at the others, actually I'm not 100% sure what this part is for. I'll just leave that there for now. So what this really did, let's see if I can find. Right, let's do it on this one. So they made this with a really deep gap to put your geishas in there. So it is essentially a deluxe light, should I say, because instead of giving you a dual layer board, they did a punch out, and so it will move, but it's not the normal deluxe board that you tend to see in the double layer boards. And then this bit here is the annexes. So this is the special room tiles that you have bought. So this here I believe is the gardens, the winter garden. The back of it tells you what it's supposed to do, but this one is essentially helps you with the foresight. I haven't obviously played this game before, so we'll see how well foresight does. In most card or deck building games I've played where you're having to draw cards, being able to see what's coming up next is usually quite handy. But this one is because it's on a global deck, I'm not 100% sure how well people use that. But anyway, that will sit in there quite nicely. So we've got, yeah, I'll get back to that later. So they also deluxified the blessing tokens, like I mentioned before. So then the blessing tokens will go here. If you had the weapon, these weapons will sit up here to represent that you have a bow in this instance. The weird thing I have about the setup is also what happens when you have the fifth, if you have a weaponsmith, which means you're allowed to carry a 5th weapon. I don't have a slot for a 5th weapon, so where does that go? These are just minor bugbear, but as a standard setup, it clearly tells you you can have 3 geishas here, you can have a blessing token. This one goes in and out. I understand why that is like that. That weapon, I kind of wish that they deluxified it like these, because like I said, like over time when you're handling it with your, like through multiple plays, then it will eventually worn down, and you might have a risk of marking the back, and then you know what's coming up. I guess now that I have this would be a good time to show this, I guess the Kickstarter as add-on for the Yedo NX set. So for this, what they did is, instead of those little cardboards, you can have now a decent token, wooden token. It is thicker than the geisha by maybe a mil or two, and then they will sit in here quite nicely. So I think that one there is the mansion. And as always, it tells you what it does at the back. So yeah, like the standard deluxe game didn't come with this. I purchased this myself separately. It's kind of odd in a sense, but I guess maybe the Kickstarter, they did not get as much funding as they hoped to get, and they couldn't put it as part of the standard game. I think they made some interesting choices as to what gets deluxified and what doesn't. You get this random coin. This random coin tells you whether it's a silver watchman or a gold watchman, and I'll explain what they do afterwards. So this here's the coin. I can't quite tell what it is. It looks like, yeah, sorry, this must be the right way up. So I can see the little guy down there. He's in the typical archway. Yeah. Right. So let me put this aside. And I think personally that's really all you need to see from the board, but let me just quickly double check. This is essentially coins, wooden coins, or not wooden coins, cardboard coins. Right, this bit here tells you what potentially special workers will show up. So I'll explain a little bit about that when the board shows up. Right, we got more things here. Can't really remember, like this is for your harbor, but I'm not sure why I need a token for that. But this one says like the missionary building got burnt down. I think this was that was for what this deluxe coin was for. You flip it to decide whether it's the gold or silver side. This one here to help you identify the end game, where it is, and then it's a reminder that the end game does not have a night watchman. So without further ado, let's take a look at the board, because that's really the main part left of this game. And so this game the board is huge. Always seems to mess this up somehow. Right, there we go. Right, move my little baby go-goos away. All my bags. So this here is the board. Aesthetics is a very big core in terms of my board games. I do like my gorgeous artwork and layouts. So this is a really, really nice board. It tells you clearly where everything's supposed to be laid out. I guess the interesting thing about what they did with the board is they gave you this other side. So should I flip this? Oh, let's flip this side. So they gave you essentially the same thing, but I guess for this whole video, let me just flip it to the side. Right, and then this is like the muted side. It's nice for newer players. They've really muted the background, so it's pretty clear. This should be your action cards, your bonus cards. What they even tell you, you draw 3, choose 1. That's what you keep. Over here's your event deck. This is all your different mission cards. Over here is your annexes, your geishas, and this is the special workers that you know that's coming up. This here's the weapon. Like I said, the weapon was cardboard. I think they never considered the bag. So the backers were the one that asked, could we put the weapons in a bag and then we can just draw them out. So that's how we got what we got. And it's a shame because if that came earlier, or if they could potentially had done it earlier, was they could have made the weapons as a token, like a wooden token, as opposed to maybe the annexes. The annexes are nice to have, but they don't really change. You just pick it up, you just put it on your board, and that's it. But these are hidden, and like I said, over time wear and tear may cause an issue. So over here we've got the harbor, tavern, gate, the castle, the temple. This is your weaponsmith or the weapon shop, and the last of all is your red light district. So it's quite nice. They tell you where you need to go. You can see that it goes 1, 2, or 3. Means if you got 3 or more players, then you keep the spot open. If you're 4 more players, you keep that spot open. If you only have 2 players, you cover those 2. And each of them has a little bit about your player count. And then that's what those other little tokens were for that I showed you before. Let's see if I can find them. Right. So that's what these tokens were for. So if you don't have the player count, you would print it out and you cover that up. So this is what this side will look like for a 2-player game. Oh, sorry, I missed one. For a 2-player game. So like I said, the interesting thing about this game that I found before was you could send a worker here to get a blessing token. But you might have a mission at the temple, so you will put a worker here to do the mission at a temple, which makes your choices quite tight. And that's why I say that this game for me is that next level of Laws of Waterdeep, because normally what happens with a standard worker placement, you'll put a worker here, and if this was like Laws of Waterdeep, you put a worker here, you grab a blessing token. But in Yedo, you will actually place out all your workers everywhere, and then at the end you all start selecting the worker you want to activate first, and then you will then do a second round after you've placed all the worker to tell, I guess, the people whether you're actually grabbing I guess what these district allows you to have, or to send them to do a mission at that particular spot. So this here is the main unboxing of Yedo. So we showed you already the bonus annexes, and then we've got the deluxe coin sets. So over here you've got your deluxe coins, and if there's any Kickstarter that comes with a coin, I will always tend to get coins because I love the deluxe coins. And I know some people like using a global coin set, but I do like thematic coins, if you would. So this one is essentially based on the Japanese yen, which is why you got the hole in the middle. This is the olden style. It's not the best coins I've had, but still quite decent, very light. I think they might have copied what was done in ancient Japan. So And if they did, good for them. But yeah, I've had heavier coins, and obviously bigger coins. Not that you really need it, but they're very nice and it feels nice to hold in your hand. Right, last of all, we've got the Unpleasant Surprise. So this is a new Kickstarter exclusive expansion, and what they have in this is 15 more missions, a bit about set collection, and some rules errata. So I guess this one says, what is this? This is about clarifications. Well, this is the errata of the original printing of Yedo Deluxe Master Set, because this is actually the second printing. And then there's a little bit of a rule book about how these Unpleasant Surprise expansion is supposed to work. So we've got essentially 15 new mission cards. Usually covers one of every spot. What is this? 15. So maybe these are the errata cards. I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe these are bonus. I'll have to double check these. But these are extra cards. You got some, I saw some solo and cooperative, I guess, games opponents where if you manage to complete this, then everyone will also do this part. So I guess it makes things a little bit nicer in terms of player interaction, because what you do can actually impact them. This must be the errata cards, because otherwise I'm not sure why these are here. But and then there is a little bit on set collection. It's a shame that I kind of wish that they did, like for this set collection, I kind of wish that they did different armors for the armor. But I'm guessing they just use one armor for the sake of simplicity. But you can kind of tell what they were based on, I guess, the background color. So it'd be quite neat if they had like different types of ancient armor that the Japanese used in their time, in the time of Yedo. So this is painting. And the funny thing is the painting has got the geishas on it. So it's like, are these really paintings? I wouldn't say they're like statues. I think, yeah, there's missed opportunity, but at the same time, it's also an additional gameplay, so I do appreciate that. And this is it for my little unboxing. So alright, and this is it for my Yedo unboxing. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day. Cheers.